It's weird that you can't see it. Like when I live stream, I can see what people are saying.
Well, I mean, we could do that, but then it's distracting because
right,
then
yeah,
you know.
you're right.
So we read the comments afterwards. That's usually what I like to do. But so everybody that's tuning in, I'm here with Maris, and Maris, if you're not familiar with her work, get familiar with it because she's doing lots of awesome stuff, and she's actually been in 2 Postmodern Jukebox videos already.
I have. It's a huge honor. Every time I come out, I'm super excited, and my whole family is like stoked as fuck.
That's so cool.
Are we allowed to swear in this?
You can
Probably
do.
not?
You be yourself. You can be yourself.
So,
Anyway, the whole we should tell the story of how we even found you. We did PMJ Search.
PMJ Search,
Search. And we do this every August. We're going to be doing this again this August too. But we scour the internet for the best postmodern jukebox singers, and everybody sings in their own versions and stuff of our songs. And I remember coming across your entry, and you did Creep.
I did.
And you were wearing kind of like a backwards baseball cap.
Yeah, so I just got my hair buzzed.
Okay.
I thought I was having a bad hair day. So I put on a baseball cap.
No, but you also had like flapper attire too. So that was like an interesting juxtaposition, which I felt was very very PMJ.
Thank you. Yeah. It was. I think I was 16.
Yeah.
And I was nervous, and that's a big song, especially the way Haley does it, because she's an enigma, just completely out of this world talented. So I was nervous, but I think that was like one of the first takes, and I kind of just gave it what I had, and it turned out really well, obviously.
Yeah, well, it became an fan favorite. Like when people were talking about their favorite entries, everybody was writing to us being like, you got to get Maris, and nobody knew your last name. I don't know your last name. I'm not sure.
I don't know my last name either.
I don't think that you have a last name.
No.
But everybody was just talking about like, who is this Maris? Who is Maris? And so kudos to you for
thank you.
Giving that a shot when you did, and then we were very excited. We got you in for Jolene.
I remember my family and I, though, we were watching the live stream when you guys announced it.
Oh, yeah.
I was torn up. I was, like, laying on the couch, like, in a puddle of my own tears when I didn't, like, win. And then you DM'd me on Twitter.
Right. Yeah, that's right. You didn't win.
I didn't win. And I was like, God damn it. And then, luckily, though, you had followed me on Twitter. And you were like, we'd still love to have you come out and do a video. And I was like, okay.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing about, with these PMJ searches.
Yeah.
We wind up getting, I didn't even realize at the time how much talent we were going to find as a result of it. So between you, we've also had Caroline Barron, who's done 2 videos, who's also super talented.
She's fantastic.
And Olivia, who was last year's winner. She's toured with us, like, on 3 tours already. Yeah. So we've been finding so many great people that it's almost like, God, how do we even pick a winner? There's so many awesome people. So we wind up, eventually getting around to all the people that really made an impression on us. Yeah. And you were definitely one of them.
Thank you.
So then you've done that, and you've done the Paramore song, which is the most
Paramore,
recent one.
and Jolene.
Right. So if you haven't checked out the Paramore video, Still Into You, check that out. That's online. That was one of our most recent PMJ videos too. Yeah. So what's that handle? Oh, too close? Okay. I'm learning. Sorry. I have to interpret hand signals, But so I want to talk to you about how you got into music.
Okay.
Because you're very young to have discovered, jazz and all these other types of music, and you seem to have a very eclectic taste.
I try.
In music and also in clothing, clearly.
Thank you.
So.
I think. So I've always been singing.
Yeah.
Usually it was pop stuff because when my parents got divorced, my sister, who was older than me, got to go move down and just live with my mom. But I live with my dad. My dad lives in the middle of nowhere in Montana. So it was very isolating and pretty lonely. But my sister would make me CDs. She would illegally download songs and then make me mixtapes, and then I could play them on my little karaoke.
You totally just threw your sister under the bus, by the way.
Yeah, well, I mean, everything is illegally downloaded these days. So
the internet is an illegal
exactly,
download, basically.
So she was dark web in it before it was cool, and so I got really attached to a lot of pop stuff. I Want It That Way is something I used to listen to all the time. Just stuff that she liked that she would give to me to listen to. And I would go and I would walk around by myself and make up songs and just sing them out into the open Montana air.
Oh yeah?
And my oldest sister, Kelsey, one day was like, I just got this MacBook for school. It has this thing called GarageBand, let's like make a song, like whatever you're singing, let's put it onto here. So then she did like a couple loops, and then I sang over that. And then when I heard that back, it was like the first time I was like, oh, like I created the words for that. I don't know, it was really cool. So then that's kind of, I think, when I knew I wanted to be like a songwriter as well as a performer, because I was already like an attention whore at like all the family parties. I'm like trying to sing in front of everybody like all the time. But yeah, and then a couple years later, I did a talent show in middle school, and we did really well. We didn't win, but we did really well. Like,
you know, the good acts never win.
Right?
In talent shows, it's always like second places.
Exactly, because they try to corner them with contracts. They didn't do this in this case, but same structure. But that went so well that my stepdad was actually like, we should get her into voice lessons and get her like a mentor. And then I started taking voice lessons with Eden Atwood, who is a jazz singer, fantastic jazz singer. And it kind of started to develop my just love for jazz. And I'm really grateful that that's kind of where I got my start, because I think it allows me to hear things that people who maybe started in pop or rock or that kind of thing wouldn't necessarily go to immediately, like in harmonies and that kind of thing. So.
Well, yeah, it's definitely, I mean, it's funny when you compare it to the amount of learning that you do, especially ear training and stuff in jazz, because it's all these like kind of, you know, quote unquote weird notes, you know?
Yeah.
So just being able to hear those gives you such a leg up, I think, on anybody that just studies pop, you know?
Yeah.
So that's another thing. But that's interesting how you started, because I remember, I had kind of the analog version of GarageBand, which was a 4-track. It was called,
nice.
It was like a Tascam 4-track, and it was the weirdest thing. It was like cassette tapes, like for anybody that's under the age of whatever, a cassette tape is the medium that was at the time in the 80s, and you would put it on, you know, the little tape recorder thing, and it could record like 2 tracks on each side, so you had 4 tracks, so you could layer yourself. I mean, I would like
you were like
play the piano.
You were Ed Sheeran before Ed Sheeran was even conceptualized. Basically,
yeah. That's how you describe it. So I would like layer like my piano, and then I would like, I don't know, I would like beatbox over it or something.
Hell yeah.
Crazy, because it was the 90s, and you know, and then I would like play trumpet over that. But it's such a creative thing when you're able to kind of, you know, layer stuff and see how a record gets made, you know? And I think that it's cool with GarageBand, you know, something that comes free on every MacBook or whatever, that now people can kind of mess around with it and see how, you know, the steps to making a multi-track recording, which seems like nobody knew how to do that back in the day. Yeah, well, and it's crazy with the internet. Everything is so self-facilitized now. Like, you can create your own platform just by creating an account and like uploading to it like regularly, and it creates a lot of noise. So there's like a lot of bad shit out there that's like, maybe they shouldn't have put that on the internet. But there's also like, it helps a lot of people. Like my first covers that I put on YouTube were, well, my first ones were like, I put my iPod up and like pressed record and then just started singing. But later, once I started to like force myself to learn GarageBand, which is super user friendly, like it wasn't a daunting task, but like to use it, and then I did a cover of Miley Cyrus, We Can't Stop, and I found like a random piano karaoke, put it on there, which I at the time didn't know was like totally copyright infringement, but like, and then I could do my own harmonies and everything, and it's even just doing that is learning, like learning by doing. Absolutely, and I think that that's really the way to learn anything. And, you know, everybody out there, if you're a musician or you're, you know, and you have social media, you have Twitter or you have Instagram, you basically have your own network, you know, like whatever you're putting out there, that's just like how a TV station, you know, used to program stuff. That's kind of what you have. So I see that's what you do. Like your Twitter is it's highly entertaining. Thank you. What is your Twitter handle? It's like, Me of the Sea. Me of the Sea. I'm thinking about changing it to Starnet, like my Instagram, to keep more of a cohesive brand. But Me of the Sea I thought I was so clever when I created it, because like my name in Latin means of the sea. Oh, okay. So I was like, cool. Me of the Sea. So at no point you're going to use Maris. You'll never use Maris on your social media. I mean, I would if it was available. Oh, okay. But like on Instagram, some, you know, asshole has it and doesn't post, like doesn't have anything up, but has like 2,000 followers or something. And still know your traffic. Yeah, I mean, I messaged him a couple times and been like, I would really love to have this username. Like, I can't pay you anything. I can't really do anything for you. But it's my name, so I would really love to have it. But it's all right. I mean, it's kind of fun, I think. Yeah. It's, you know. You've adapted well. Thank you. But what I was going to say is your Twitter is very entertaining. You know, you're always putting all your, just random thoughts out there and for public consumption. And then, but also the clips where people get to watch you in real time making a song.
Yeah.
Or I think that's such a cool thing
Thank you.
for people to see, like the steps that you take. Like, this is you just messing around on guitar with some chords and then you put a melody over it.
Yeah.
Or it's you, what was it when you had a few that went viral? It's like you just singing
so
jazz tunes.
Yeah, Fly Me to the Moon was the big one that kind of boosted my social media, and still is. Like, meme pages will post it, and finally
really?
they started crediting me, because people would be in the comments like, what's the singer? Like, post the singer or whatever. And so finally it started getting credit, and then that's like, you see like a surge of followers, whatever. And I kind of, at first, when things started going really well after like the Fly Me to the Moon video, I found myself getting really, really caught up in it and like counting followers, like making sure every day, and I'd be like devastated if I like lost a couple. It's so unhealthy.
Yeah.
It like takes you out of just doing things to do things. And I think it also, sometimes people like will, just because of the numbers, be like, oh, you're an influencer. But I really feel like I've kept my stuff as authentic as I am. Like, I post when I want. I haven't done any like brand deals. I'm always just chilling. And I think people are drawn to that.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think you can tell when something's
people can tell when somebody was
consumers
paid to
aren't
do something.
stupid. Yeah,
no, it's true. And nowadays, I think that authenticity is really the key for being an artist now.
Right?
The way to cut through the noise. If you're doing something that's kind of different and you're really being true to yourself, I don't think anybody can fault you for that.
Yeah. And I think it's also, it's respectable in the way of, because there's people that are cutting through the noise by doing like outrageous things. And that's like, obviously.
But it's kind of obvious why they're doing that.
Yeah. And
it's obvious when somebody does something for attention.
But there's like obvious, like you guys doing Postmodern Jukebox, like this is something that hadn't been really conceptualized at all before. And then people are drawn to it because it's something new that actually adds something to the face of art.
Well, we wanted to, I think, we always like to make the videos engaging in some way that gives people stuff to discuss or talk about, or go down a rabbit hole of watching, sad clown videos or whatever, So, we try to do our thing. But we should play a song, because we've talked about you singing. We should actually have you sing.
And I open my mouth.
So
it's
there
like
you go.
dying cats.
Let's do, let's see, we talked about a couple songs that were, well, you mentioned Hotel California.
Yeah.
So what's the story behind that? Is that like a song that you listened to a lot when you were a kid?
Well, we did that song on your Instagram.
We did do that. That's right.
I had the lyrics in my hand, right? Because I just didn't want to mess it up, because my dad and I love the Eagles together, and it's a big song, a lot of lyrics, very storytelling. I just don't want to mess anything up, but that was a problem for some people. But no, I'm just kidding. Hotel California is something that is kind of just, my dad and I love the Eagles, and I love the way that the Eagles tell stories.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's do some Hotel California.
On a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair, warm smell of colitas dancing up through the air. Up ahead in the distance, stars shimmering light. My head grew heavy and my sight grew dim. Had to stop for the night. There she stood in the doorway. I heard the mission bell, and I was thinking to myself, this could be heaven or this could be hell. Then she lit up a candle and she showed me the way. There were voices down the corridor, thought I heard them say, well, such a lovely face. Ready a room at the Hotel California, any time of year you can find her here. Da 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 da, da 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 da, da 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 da. Welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place, such a lovely place. Ready a room at the Hotel California. Any time of year you can find her here. All right.
All right, Calital, California, featuring Maris.
A little bit of a
Awesome.
different version.
No,
but,
that was it. Yeah, we switched it up.
rock and roll.
We never did that before. That was
Yeah.
like, I don't even remember what the pianogram version we did. It was
Me neither.
probably-
I mean, I remember
so
I was
long
psyched
ago.
about it, though.
Yeah.
My grandma was, too.
That's right. You had the fam here. And it was cool to see them. That was great to meet them.
Well, being
Yeah.
17.
Yeah, of course.
gotta.
Yeah. Bring
Right.
the posse. What I wanted to, where do I want to go from there? I wanted to talk about
Hotels in California.
In California, yeah. Well, you're visiting California.
I am.
And-
I'm out of New York.
But you're
currently.
based in New York now. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, how did that feel moving from Montana? It was Missoula, right?
Yeah, Missoula, Montana. So I just kind of always didn't feel super great there. I think it's so small that your own personal problems seem like the end of the world, kind of. And that was very easy for me to get like caught up in, I think. And also like everybody knows everybody's business, and I'm a big fan of like everybody minding their own business, kind of.
I see.
And that's how New York is. Like everybody's minding their own business.
Yeah.
I also
New York is very anonymous, I guess. in a
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah, and you can do whatever you want, really, as if you're not hurting other people. But like, you can be who you want to be. You can wear what you want to wear, and it's just so big that there's not like your own shit is like minuscule, and you see people go through awful things every day and get back up and
Yeah.
continue to hustle. And I think that's something that like every day I'm there, I'm inspired to like work harder.
Well, I do think one thing that's good about being an artist in New York is that you're surrounded by people they're all kind of in the same boat. Like everybody's
Yeah.
working very hard to achieve. I mean, it's a place that people move because they are very driven to accomplish something.
Yeah.
And
If you make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Yeah.
That's like the biggest cliche ever, but yeah.
yeah. So I know, like when I moved, to New York City, that was a dream of mine because I was, I grew up in a
Where are
small
you
town,
from?
New Jersey, but it was a very
Oh,
small
yeah.
town.
Yeah.
And I used to go to New York in like the weekends, in high school, and you go to see the jazz clubs and
Yeah.
just be so inspired, seeing people doing stuff in music.
Yeah.
So then I moved there, and at first, I had a lot of trouble finding work. Just coming as an outsider into a new
Yeah.
city, like it was overwhelming, kind of. But then, I started to kind of find other people that were like-minded, other people that also were kind of interested in the same stuff with music, and that were also very driven.
Yeah.
And I found that it was a really good kind of incubator for a project
Yeah.
like Postmodern Jukebox. Like I don't know that it could start somewhere else. I think there was something about the raw energy of New York and just everybody being really driven and
Yeah. Well, and you need each
hustling.
other.
Yeah.
You need
yeah.
each other to like. It takes a village to lift
Totally.
an idea up.
And
But,
also the other thing was that if there was if you were doing a video or something
Mm-hmm.
and you needed a drummer, then you could go in within like a 5-mile radius. There's like 15 drummers.
Yeah.
There's like nowhere else like that. I don't think there's any other city
Yeah.
where there's just that. Maybe New Orleans, maybe, but
or
just
Nashville
having
now.
yeah,
Everybody's
Nashville as
moving to
well.
Nashville.
Yeah. But so I think it's good that you move to a place like that where you get to kind of be working with a lot of people. And now, what's your plan? How because you have obviously your own original music, which is your main thing.
Yeah. So I think my plan right now, I came out to LA to do predominantly writing. This was kind of a sick thing where I like texted Scott. I was like, hey, I know we just did a Postmodern Jukebox video.
Yeah, do a Scottcast.
But like, yeah.
It's perfect.
So I've been writing for other people too, which has been really interesting.
Yeah.
And it's been good for me to learn, because the way that I write for myself, or like for my own projects, is like very wordy. Like I want to say a lot with what I'm going to be presenting. But I've had to learn writing now, like sometimes a pop song is like, the words aren't as important as like the feeling. So, and having too many words or things that take a minute to understand is like just not friendly for that type of song, really. So like I wrote a song that originally
Right, you don't hear words like hypothesis.
Yeah,
like
that kind of thing. Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it would be kind of cool if that
It would be.
happen,
And I think there's artists that do that, but it has to, suit the song. Like nobody's going to be in the club like dancing to like some super poetic like wordy thing. But yeah, I came out here as well to work with the producer Joey Doherty about my song 18 Forever, which is like in the process of being like, we just got the vocals yesterday, but it's kind of like a little like 80s rock bop.
Awesome.
And I'm psyched about it. Yeah, it's going to be really, really cool. So I think where I'm going from here, I'm just trying to like write super kick-ass stuff and play as much as I can. But I think what's great about New York is like I do kind of get my ass kicked every single day. And then instead of, it's so interesting because you would think that in the circumstances of like a small town where you're with your family, you don't really have to worry about like paying rent or like that kind of thing. You would be happier and like thriving more. But in the circumstance that I've put myself in, like stressing out about rent, I have like this day job where I work like 13-hour shifts, that kind of thing. I feel a lot better. I'm a lot more like motivated. I had a day where like it was 7 a.m. I was on my way to work and it was pouring rain and I got pickpocketed. I think I told you a little bit about that. But that like day absolutely stuck because my wallet had my keys in it. So I was stranded outside my apartment for the whole day because my roommates were both working. So I had to go like wake my buddy Izzy up at like 7 a.m. and like just like crash on her couch. And that sucked, and it's super humbling. And like
those are the stories you get though.
Yeah, but then the next day I was like, all right, what's next? Like what can I do better next time? And so now I keep my keys on like I keep them, actually I have them
there you go.
right here. But yeah.
Nobody's stealing those. There you go.
Yeah. You live and you learn, and New York is really good for expediting that process. And I knew if I wanted to grow as fast as I wanted to grow exponentially as an artist and as a person, I knew I would need to put myself in a circumstance that would force me to do so. Yeah.
No, I think that's absolutely true. That's right on. I think that putting yourself in challenging situations is always good. It just, helps you grow as a person.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it's like when people talk about how when they have the goal they're like, oh, I want to, get this really good job or something like that so I can retire and just sit on a beach all day. I don't think anybody ever wants to sit on a beach all day.
Right?
Like, I can't.
People
I would
think they want to sit on a beach all day.
Oh, I'd be miserable if I had to sit on a beach all day. But that's not really what people want, you know?
Well, I was telling my mom, I'm like, I'm going to get super rich and I'm going to retire you and like dad and everything. And she's like, I don't want you to. Like, I like working. I like being motivated to
it's good to feel like you're being challenged and
exactly,
you're contributing to something, that you're doing something. And I think that when I was starting Postmodern Jukebox, I was working several jobs at the time. It was a similar probably feeling, that where it's almost like in a weird way, even though those jobs take a lot of your energy, but there's something really motivating. Like when it's like your time, when you have free time, you make the most of it.
Yeah.
You figure out a way to kind of. We were talking to another singer that Jenny Lena, who sings with us. She's from Netherlands, and she was telling us about because she just had a kid, or she had a kid recently.
Congrats.
Sometime, yeah. And she was talking about. I was like, well, how do you balance the artist thing, because that's got to be really hard to. Do that. And she's like, well, it makes me more conscious of free time. Like when I have free time now, I'm motivated to work. I'm not going to just surf the internet or watch like YouTube cat videos. I'm going to make a song and stuff. So,
and then sometimes that stuff is good. Sometimes
you know what?
I watch
a lot of Jersey
videos,
Shore or whatever.
And you're like, oh, my friends.
Yeah.
Back in Jersey.
Back in Jersey. Got to represent. Cool. Let's do another song.
Yeah, all right.
So let's talk about you brought up Disney movies.
Yeah.
You were like asking like what songs do you know, and you're like, okay, do you know anything from Disney? Do you know?
And I love The Lion King. My favorite movie ever, always has been. Because my synesthesia, it was the first movie I ever watched when I was little, and I was like, this makes sense visually, and like what I'm hearing is what I'm seeing.
Interesting.
And so I was like, I love this movie.
That's crazy. So I'm trying to remember, when did that movie come out? It probably wasn't a new movie when you saw it, right?
I don't think so.
No.
I think I was like watching it since like 3 or 4, I think.
Okay.
So, I don't think it was. I can't remember.
For whatever reason, that really spoke to you.
Yeah. I just the way that I hear music, I can see like a movie and like characters that I create and that kind of thing. And The Lion King was like the first thing I ever saw that everything 100% made sense to me. Yeah, and I wouldn't have changed. And I also love Elton John.
Yeah.
So like,
he's a great writer.
That was The Lion King was a big deal for me when I was little. It's still a big deal for me. I watched it on the plane right over and cried my eyes out.
Did you really? Okay. All right. Well, that's why you brought up this song.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we're gonna do something. We haven't done a full Lion King cover, I think, on this channel or on Facebook. I don't think I've ever done this before, so I don't know if I know the song, but we're gonna find out. Okay. So here we go.
The chorus or the verse?
I guess the verse.
Verse? Okay. So many things to tell her, but how to make her see the truth about my past? Impossible. She turned away from me. He's holding back, he's hiding, but what I can't decide. Why won't he be the king I know he is, the king I see inside? Can you feel the love tonight? The peace the evening brings, the world for once in perfect harmony with all its living things. Can you feel the love tonight? You needn't look too far. Stealing through the night's uncertainties, love is where they are. Key change? Can you feel the love tonight? You needn't look too far. Steal it through the night's uncertainties. Love is where they are. Can you feel the love?
There we go.
Rock and
We just
roll.
kind of made up a tag at the end of that.
Yeah.
That was great. Thank you for just going with that.
Rock and roll,
And
yeah.
you never have to ask me twice for a key change.
All right.
That's
Me
just-
neither. I
that's
love
just
that
okay.
shit. All right.
Everybody loves a key change. A good key change. So actually, I just thought of that while we were playing. There's probably a lot of parents out there that are watching, and
Sorry about swearing.
It's okay.
It is what it
It
is.
is what it is. Or people that are looking to get their kids into music, or how to inspire them to instead of there's so many kids that are just playing video games or whatever. Nothing wrong with
Right.
that, but it's kind of cool to.
Well,
be
the
able
arts
to
are dying as
learn
well as
music
the
and stuff.
funding. Funding for arts is depleting a little bit.
Yeah. So maybe you can give people what are some ways that you found inspired to go and dig into music and really put in all this time, because you obviously spent a lot of time just learning all this stuff, and it's not all fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot of hard work, and
it is.
What really motivated you?
Well, I think I've always had it as a necessity. As I was saying earlier, it's something like that's kind of. I wrote a lyric when I was like 16 and like had just got diagnosed with depression. Like that was really, and it was like, if love is someone who's there for me, music is my lover, because like it's been a consistency in my life that I didn't find in other places. But I think a big thing, my mom, like when I was a baby, would sing to me. And even like growing up would just kind of sing around the house and that kind of thing. And we still go on road trips. And that playlist I was talking about earlier that I made for my mom is just songs that she loves to sing. So we go on road trips and just like belt in the car. And that's like how we connect. I think that, my stepdad was big about getting me into like structured lessons. But I also think a big way, obviously I've never been a parent, but something that meant a lot to me was like just having a parent show up, like you're working hard on something, or like choir concerts, like show up for that stuff, because that's important to be scanning the crowd. You see all your friends' parents, and you see your parents, and it's like they care about what I'm doing, even if it's like some crappy middle school choir concert. We're doing like an 80s medley, but like, that kind of thing. It's important to show up for your kids, I think.
Yeah,
at least in my experience.
No, absolutely. I think that's definitely true. And do you think that, I think probably one of the hurdles, right, is that like when you're starting music lessons and you're a kid, it can be kind of discouraging at first, because especially if you play an instrument that doesn't really sound good, something like violin, it takes like 7 years to get a good sound out of that.
Yeah.
It can be very
I
discouraging.
tried violin in 5th grade. I quit it.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't like it. Sounded awful.
Yeah.
I'm
so
not
that's
a good,
hard.
yeah.
So, how do you think, do you have any advice of how to kind of stick through it, through those early parts where it seems kind of discouraging, or it seems daunting? It seems like, well, I can never be a good singer. Like a lot of people that think that,
I think, sometimes I think that I'm, like, I'll get in this weird pit of, like, comparing myself to other people. I think that's, like, the first big sin is comparing yourself to other people, because, like, everything is circumstance. So your circumstances have been different. The way that you've learned things have been different. So comparison is just not a healthy or efficient technique. Like, why not just work on your own shit instead of sitting there and like comparing yourself to other people?
Right.
But I fall into that hole sometimes, especially with social media. It's so easy to be like, oh, well, she did this better than I did, and that makes me crappy. And I've had, times where I haven't like made music for a couple days, but that's usually the most I can go, just because it is such a part of me now. I think it was good that I didn't start singing and then my parents threw me in front of, like cameras, and like singing started as something that I did for me, and I think that's how it has to be. Like I think anything that you want to be passionate about should start as something just for you, because there's like child stars or whatever that probably love music, because like how can you not love music, right? And then get thrown in front of a camera and suddenly they have all this pressure to like be better and look good and that kind of thing. I think when you're first starting out with something, it should be for you, and that'll make it.
Well, I think it should always be, probably, not even just when you're starting out.
Yeah,
right? Because I guess it naturally becomes that to some degree. Especially if you work, if you're a professional, and you're, especially if you're in the public eye or something. But that whole thing, what you bring up about the comparison, because I think that artists of all types fall into that trap of, instead of comparing
them. Sensitive.
Artists are sensitive. What can you say? But instead of comparing yourself to how you were yesterday, or something like that, or 2 years ago, you're comparing yourself to other people, and we never know anybody's complete story. We don't know where they're coming from. We don't know even how they feel about themselves. So it's a really. Yeah, it can be a pretty dangerous thing, and I think the internet does make it kind of. It
streamlines it.
Yeah.
You don't have to like wait for the magazine article to come out like you used to.
Right.
You just like sit on Instagram, and it's like, oh my God, look at her butt. Like her butt is so good.
I think that's the lyrics of "Baby Got Back." I believe.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think you're
Becky. Her name is Becky, I think.
Amazing. All right. Well, let's do one more song.
Yeah.
Let's do, because we just did this Postmodern Jukebox video of "Still Into You." Let's do like a little piano voice acoustic version, which we've never. Did we do a demo for that? We probably. Usually the process when we make a video is I record a piano demo.
Oh, you did a little. You did the first verse and chorus.
Okay, yeah.
And then we just kind of got here and rolled with it.
That's right. Yeah. So you didn't even get a full demo to sing with. So,
well, because I didn't come for the. We just did the creative part over the phone, and then because you were coming in, when I can't remember what day, but he was flying in the day the day before I was leaving.
So okay. So we're gonna make the demo now.
Yeah.
We're gonna do it in a reverse order. We're gonna make the demo after we did the video, which
it's the new wave. Yeah.
Okay.
Can't count the years on one hand we've been together. I need the other one to hold you, make you feel better. It's not a walk in the park to love each other, but when our fingers interlock, can't deny you're with it. 'Cause after all this time, I'm still into you. I should be over all the butterflies. I'm into you. And baby, even on our worst nights, I'm into you. Let them wonder how we got this far. I don't even need to wonder at all. Yeah, after all this time, I'm still into you. Recount the night that I first met your mother, and on the drive back to your house, told you that I loved you. You felt the weight of the world fall off your shoulders, and to your favorite song sang along to the start of forever. 'Cause after all this time, I'm still into you. Oh, I should be over all the butterflies. I'm into you. And baby, even on our worst nights, I'm into you. Let them wonder how we got this far. I don't even need to wonder at all. After all this time, I'm still into you. Some things just make sense, and one of those is you and I. Some things just make sense, and even after all this time, I'm into you. Baby, not a day goes by that I'm not into you. Should be over all the butterflies. I'm into you. Worst nights, I'm into you. Got this far, I don't even need to wonder at all. After all this time, after all this time, after all this time, I'm still into you. Wow.
There we go.
There we go.
Awesome.
I remember one of the first comments on that was, I love this song by Paramore. Thanks for ruining a beautiful song, I guess. I was like,
Welcome
damn.
to the internet. Welcome
All
to
right,
the
rock
internet.
and roll, cool.
You know, that's just a thing. You know, unfortunately.
I mean, it's kind of
That's the
funny when
internet.
you step back from it and you don't, they wouldn't say that to your face, right?
No.
So it's
people wouldn't
like,
say that.
all right.
I think but I wrote a whole chapter in my book about YouTube comments because it's just like something that's such a new thing.
Which I haven't gotten, by the way,
know?
so.
Okay, well, it's on Amazon.
All right, and I'm gonna put a promo code least.
But anyway, because it's the YouTube comment thing, or Facebook, or Twitter, or wherever. I mean, it's like a new thing that it's like this, where it's not even. I don't even think it's really like. You can't even count it as humans that are really even because it's more
egos.
It's
like,
egos. It's exactly. It's not like because probably most of these people, even the people that are leaving the bad comments, they're probably lovely people. And
I bet, I bet they, they call their grandma on the weekends.
Oh, the book. Okay, there we go. Just in case anybody needs a visual of the book that I was referencing before. Thank you, Rook, for the. That was a very discreet product placement right there.
Yeah.
And here you go. You know what? You can take this copy.
Thank you. Nice.
It might be the last one that I have at the house, so I don't know if you can keep it, but we'll find out if we can find another one. What's that?
Oh, it's all mine.
Good? Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, there you go. You got your own copy, so you can read all about it. You can read all about the YouTube comments.
Read all about it.
But what I was gonna say is that for artists, and this is probably something that actually probably people your age, I didn't grow up with Facebook. I didn't grow up with this whole thing where there was a potential for people just being mean to each other constantly. Like we would do that in the schoolyard. But it's got to be completely different for somebody your age that came of age through Facebook and through YouTube comments and everything. How did you develop like a thick skin?
Well, I'm very sensitive. In general, like my skin is sensitive, everything about me is sensitive, but especially my feelings. And I remember I didn't really get any mean comments before the creep video like went big. And I remember I was like reading comments like refresh, read, which now I know that's like toxic behavior. It's not healthy to just like sit there and like read what people think about you. Like you gotta have your own opinion of yourself before you ask other people for their opinion. And I didn't at the time. I was just like, whoa, like 20,000 people have watched this video? That's crazy. And then I was reading the comments, and I remember somebody had called me some like slur of like, or like, is that a boy or a girl kind of thing? And that used to like kind of like get under my skin a little bit. But now I would rather, it's not that I don't value what people have to say online, but even like nice things, I kind of take it like a grain of salt, and just the way that like I have people, and I'm very fortunate for the people in my life. It's like my mom, and then I have like 2 really close friends that really their opinions are the ones that I like I'll send them something and be like, can you just tell me what you think? And I'm also fortunate to have people that tell me the truth, even if it's not what I want to hear. And I think now when I see stuff like that, usually I think of like how that reflects on the person that commented it. And I also find stuff like that really funny. And I'd rather have people be mean to me than like see people be mean to someone else. Especially like people are awful to like kids, like on Twitter and stuff, like with the stuff they say. And but I think I'm in a much better place now to be like, all right, so that is just, one person said that. They've said it on a whim. They have an idea about who I am and like what I'm doing. And that's totally, they're entitled to that opinion. They're entitled to say whatever they want to say. But that doesn't mean I have to,
let that affect you.
Hold it. Or take it into
Well,
account.
that's great. That's probably the best.
Thank you.
You're doing the right thing,
Thank you.
So
how about you?
Good. Oh, me? Well, actually, I read all the stuff. I read all the comments. It doesn't really bother me. I don't really get,
Not even the ones that are like.
No, even like those, they're kind of funny to me.
Pretty
sometimes.
Talented for a douche.
Yeah.
Or was
that was one of them. There was something stupid. I'm not really too bothered by them. I like to read the comments because I do like to see just, people. Sometimes you get good ideas. Sometimes people have good feedback. Everything. But again, I definitely do take everything with a grain of salt. So, and including the ones that are very like over the top praise, like, my God, no, it's I don't want to believe that kind of hype. I don't want to believe that hype. But at the same time, I think you can't let that stuff steer you off course from what you want to do.
It can feel good for a second.
Yeah,
you can be
art
like,
is not like it's not really a democracy when you're making art.
Exactly.
You got your own ideas, and you're gonna make this album, and it's not based on like, well, what is the public? They're not voting for each lyric that you write or whatever. You're trying to be authentic. Like
if you want to make real art, or you want to have even like the illusion of making real art, like an industry plant or whatever, people. Like, I think these big, like, companies, these big, like, record labels think people, like, the consumer is stupid. and they just like buy whatever is optimized for them. But I don't. I genuinely, obviously, I'm a consumer. I'm not stupid. I can see when something is completely manufactured.
Right.
And that doesn't really change like if the music's good, because like I loved One Direction. I still, you know, am down for One Direction, but they're completely manufactured. Like their first album sucks because it's manufactured, but then like as they came into their own, the music got better. But still, I don't know. I think people can tell, and whether or not you choose to, you know.
Well, that's my feeling of reality TV, too.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I think about those shows and everything. But okay, well, you know, so the too long didn't read version of this would be authentic to yourself if you're an artist, and don't read the comments.
These are the keynotes.
Yeah, the keynotes. That would be the cliff notes of that. Am I too close to the mic again? Okay. All right.
Just
well,
like, wow.
Well, Maris, thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for
Fun.
having me.
This
is
fun
super
jamming.
fun.
It's always great to see you. And what's going on? Sign a book. Oh, okay. All right.
Oh my God.
Who?
Joseph.
Thanks, Joseph.
Who's Joseph?
Why do you sign the book for?
Oh, sign the book. Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. You got it, Joseph. So, but I'm signing not for Joseph, right? I'm signing for Maris. Okay. So
Make it out to Joseph. I
right,
tell you.
Quit.
It's a good thing you're pretty, Scott.
Hi, Maris.
Oh, with a gold Sharpie too?
Gold, only the finest
No
for
expense
Maris.
spared.
I'm gonna
at
write
Postmodern
fun
Jukebox.
jamming,
Fun
cool
jamming.
shirt.
Thanks.
You got a cool shirt.
It says Lone Wolf, no club.
Lone Wolf. That is a cool shirt.
Thank you.
Stay gold, since it's in gold pen.
Oh yeah, Pony Boy.
There we go. Stay gold.
Thank you. I probably don't need your Sharpie.
Oh yeah, that's
He's
right.
just so
You don't
used
wanna
to
go.
signing autographs. He's like, well.
All right, that's enough.
All right.
Guys, so if you want to follow Maris, you can find her at Me of the Sea at Twitter.
On Twitter, yeah.
And what are you on Instagram?
Starnip. STARNIP.
Okay. That's her name. Are you on Facebook at all? Or you not?
My Facebook I don't use very often, but the username thing is like official Maris or something.
Official Maris on Facebook. And your music, that if they want to say they wanted to obtain a CD of your songs or anything.
So
where can they get that?
I like sold out of physical CDs in my first album, but I'm on Spotify, so
There you go.
probably
if people
just
write
Maris.
to you, could they get a mixtape? Could you make them a mixtape?
I could totally make a mixtape. I do playlists on Spotify, like
Okay.
once a month. I'm like,
Yeah?
here's what I've been listening to, y'all. So
Awesome. So how do they follow you on? How do they find you on Spotify?
I think look up like Maris and then Boys, because that's the newest song I have out right now, and soon it will be something different. So you
Hey.
should probably follow, because that's gonna
There
be
we go.
sick.
It's gonna be a thing. Awesome. All right. Thanks a lot, guys.
Thank you.